Welcome to the Activity Call Live, and now our host, Andy Albright.
Hey, hold on. Oh, good. So I got an audience here in front of me in my office, and I have Jake and Jared. Jay and Jay are on the screen, and we're talking about building a dynasty, building a massive business. We're talking about getting stuck. We're talking about how to move from where we are to where we want to be in the size of our organization. We're not talking personal, family, spiritual, athleticism. We're talking business. Okay? Got it. All right. So my name is Andy Albright, and I've been enjoying building businesses for over 30 years now. And I've met a lot of people. I've seen incredible success. I've seen people create go from $35,000 income to over $2 million income plus. Really, right?
Yes, sir. Just keep going.
And I have seen so many lives change personally, family-wise. Into business, but it's been a lot of fun seeing it. So I like talking to people about how they can improve their businesses, how they can get to the heights they want. I have not seen everything, but I've seen a lot in 30 years and over thousands and thousands of people all across the country. And it is hilarious. To me, it may not be interesting to you, but the things that I heard 33 years ago, people would say something, and then, you're thinking that excuse 33 years ago or that logic, nobody would be that dumb today. But then today, somebody says the exact same thing it was said 33 years ago, and you're just like, oh my God. And so then you get new people that come along and they start today, and then 3 years from now, they start hearing stuff that I heard 33 years, and they're like, oh, no, people understand. I go, you don't understand. You didn't get it either when you first started here. So I like seeing people's eyes open up to kind of the malarkey, the bullshit out there when people tell you stuff, and we're going like, no, it's not like that. It's like finding out a massive shortcut to your favorite restaurant that saves you 10 minutes, nobody knows about it, and you tell somebody and they go through that alley and they're like, why has nobody never told me? And I go, I don't know, but I'm telling you now. The only question is, what are you going to do with this information going forward? See, information changes the situation when you take action. So that's what we're going to talk about. I'm taking text and emails and comments, and I got an audience here that I take questions for. I wanted to talk to Jake and Jared because they are having some really good success. And let me tell you, here's a rule. Anytime you're having success, you're having situations and problems along the way. A lot of people think that the people that are having all the successes are the ones that have the no problems, and that is not the case. Probably about the same amount of problems as the unsuccessful people, but the people that are successful, they're navigating the situations and the problems. Now, I would even say the ones that are trying to do something are having bigger problems. People that are trying to make an effort are having bigger problems than people that are sitting still. These two are trying, and they've not called me ahead of time and said, we're having situations. I just know because they're building a business, they're having situations. So I want to talk to them about that. Sometimes Jared and Jake in just a concept where everybody picks up on it, but some of it is going to be very specific to you, depending on the questions you ask and how you want to get into it. Okay, all right. So let's see, big dates we've got coming up. Let's get this out of the way, or not out of the way, but let's get it nailed down. We want everybody to join us at National Boot Camp in Orlando, Florida, and we're doing it right there when you fly into Orlando Airport. There's a huge hotel. That's where we are. All those details are going to be popped up in the thing below, and your managers are putting your texts out to show you how to get LinkedIn, but we would like for you to attend our boot camp. It'll kick off Friday the 18th, and we'll go all night, and then we'll kick off Saturday morning, go all day long, and Sunday we're going to go till 2 o'clock. And this is jam-packed substance, teaching, education, exactly what you need to do to build your business. And I have been, maybe you haven't, I've been to those seminars that you pay $500, $2,000. I know a guy right now, he's teaching, he wants the top 10 people to pay $12,000 and the next 50 to pay, I think it's $8,000 he's asking. And I think the cheapest tickets are $75, and it's crazy what people will pay when it's a vague answer. But I'm telling you, we're going to go right into exactly what we do and how you can make money. Not you can change your life if you do this, if you eat this pill, if you have this mantra. But we're going like, we'll tell you exactly how to make millions of dollars in this business. And Jared and Jake, I really, I always laugh when I'm talking to people. I go like, y'all, I hope you don't think I'm kidding. Like, I'm going to tell you exactly what you got to do it. Just like a recipe. We do two things, a recipe or a code to get in a massive safe. Adding to the recipe is just as bad as taking away from the recipe. When Emerald Agassi, or who does gun safes, does his gun safe explanation, turn it to the left, turn it to the right, give me a safe name. Come on, you guys. Where's my shooters? Where's my gun people? Yeah, I've got them everywhere. If you don't put the numbers in, the safe's not going to open. You add to it, it's not going to open. You change the recipe, it's not going to work. And it is funny how people will go up to a safe and they're turning it, and you're just thinking you're not doing it right. Instructions are right in front of you. Or cooking. I see people cooking. I like to cook. I see people cooking. I go like, you best don't say anything, but in your mind you're going like, yeah, that's not right. That's going to be lumpy. that's going to have a taste to it right there. So when I put out my formula and I'm showing people, I'm going like, I try not to get mad when they add way to it or subtract from it, but I'm going like, when they're doing it wrong and not happy with the results. So if they're doing it wrong and they go like, I love this company, and they're doing it wrong, or I love this bread and they've cooked it wrong, but they love it, but they've done it wrong, you don't get mad at them. But you know what I mean? Like you just got to go like, well, you're just not doing it right, and they're happy with it and you're okay with it. But if you really want all the success, if you really want everything that the company has to offer, I'm going to tell you exactly how to follow it. So, Jake, give a high level. You and your wife are building it. I know she's not there, and I don't know if it's because I didn't invite her, but your wife is building it together. You got a family, and the same thing with Jared. Kind of talk about your family and how you are building it. Just kind of the high level of how you're building the business, selling and recruiting, how you're recruiting, traveling. Give me about a 2-minute highlight, Jake.
Yes, sir. Am I coming through okay?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Hey, well, thank you, Andy and Jane, for having me on here. Jake Joseph in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. My wife, Veray, and I have been building this business together. She got the great idea of jumping in, and I didn't think it was such a great idea until I saw some paychecks coming in, and money talks, BS walks, right? So saw that there, and we saw a platform, seeing, like Andy was talking about, National Boot Camp coming up. Our first event that we went to as a national convention at headquarters, and we saw married couples who actually liked each other on and off the stage that were building businesses together. So we saw them doing it. We said, why not us? It's been some years now, and we've got 2 beautiful little girls. We got Reina is 11 now. Catalina is 8 years old. And we kind of split things down the middle. We've both on the sales side, both on the recruiting and the building side, whether it's finding new people to work with and or teaching teaching and developing agents on how to grow their business and scale it up, and then also moving into the piece of growing and teaching other leaders that we have going on. So both very well versed in the business, and just as in it as one another. So
Cool. Okay, New Mexico is where you live?
yes, sir.
What's the name of the city?
Rio Rancho. Yeah,
Rio Rancho.
yes, sir.
And y'all got 3 kids?
2.
2 kids? How old are they?
8 and 11.
All right, in good health?
Yes, sir.
Girls?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Jared?
Hey, Andy. Thank you for having me on the call. Yes, my name is Jared Doucette out of Rockledge, Florida. We actually just moved over here. We were in Orlando about 6 weeks ago. Actually, finally just moved over here. Prior to doing this, I was in the construction trade, self-employed welder, making a lot of money, traveling around all the time. I had money, but didn't have much time with my family. I'm doing this business with my beautiful wife, Rachel, and my 2 kids, Carter and Oliver. So about 2.5 years ago, wanted to change, had a quarter life crisis, really didn't want to do what I was doing anymore. So we kind of sold everything that we had, moved down to Florida. I took the Terry Edwards method and found insurance on Craigslist. I said, wow, they're really making a lot of money doing that. So I went out, got my license, and then after getting a call from Kyle Harry, went to a national convention about 7 days after getting a call from him, just say, hey, let's go see what this thing is about. And kind of going off what Jake said, I just saw a lot of people who were making money, happy, and really just going after it. And so me and my beautiful wife just kind of jumped in both feet together, and we've been building the business for about, I think this is our third full year now. So having a great time doing it, traveling around like crazy, learning a ton, and just ready to keep going.
How old are those boys?
8 and 6.
Yes, I think I think Jake and Vereda started a little earlier on the family thing, and then they got girls and y'all got boys. That's kind of the biggest high-level difference.
Yeah.
And then, of course, where you grew up in the world. Where'd you grow up, Jared?
New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's the difference in New Mexico for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be the 3 highlighted differences. How much is your total hierarchy, all the people selling in your group, Jake, added up? What'd they do last month?
Last month, 134,000.
134K. Well, you have any idea what yours was, Jared?
I think it was in mid-20s last month.
About 20K?
Yeah.
Mid-20s. Okay. All right. So the 20K, we need to get 250K, and the 130, we need to get to $500,000K, right?
Right.
And so the way it works, okay, I'm not going to review our whole company, but for a high level for brand new people, a typical person is going to write $10,000 a month, or $20,000 a month, or $30,000 a month. So that's kind of a range. I shouldn't say typical. A good salesperson is going to go 10 to 30. Okay, and one sale is around $1,000 roughly. So it's either 10 sales a month to 30 sales a month. Okay, so if Jared has 20,000, then it could be him doing 10 and somebody else doing 10, or it could be Jim just doing 20, or he could have 2 people doing 10, adds up to 20. Everybody tracking on me? This is easy math. So 134,000, he could have 13 people doing 10. 13 times 10 would be 130,000 plus 4,000. So to get to 250,000, you just need 25 people doing 10. I know you put people on the spot, or you start just throwing numbers out. It sounds complicated. Just take $10,000, 25 different people. It's 250,000. And then if you're getting a spread on that, Jared, it's just 10%, it's 25,000 a month. So if you hired 25 people, and you get a 10% spread, you're making $25,000 a month in income. That's your money. You don't have to pay it to anybody else. You got expenses. You got your rent and your electricity, and I don't know if you got a secretary or if you got phone bills, but you're making $25,000 a month. Jared, Jake, not complicated, is it? So when y'all saw this, did you think it was easy, or did you think it was complicated?
I thought it was simple. I wasn't sure what to expect, how it worked.
What'd you think, Jared?
I knew there was a lot of people making money in it, so I figured it wasn't going to be easy, but it was definitely doable.
You also strike me as one of those people, Jared. If Jake can do it, Jared thinks he can do it. If Andy can do it, Jared is sure he can do it, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, I've always thought that from a young age about a lot of things.
At a young age, I was forced to make a decision between hypocritical humility and honest arrogance. You remember that choice? Hypocritical humility and honest arrogance, Jared?
Not sure I understand the question. What do you mean?
There's humble humility. That's when you go like, I'm so humble to be here. So can't believe I've done this. And there's like, I knew I was going to kill this business. I just thought I'd be bigger. That would be the honest arrogance.
No, not that one. The humility one.
Hypocritical humility and honest arrogance. You got to pick.
Yeah.
I guess you could mix it up. You could go with hypocritical arrogance or something. But all right, y'all with me? So Jared said, like, if they can do it. So think about this: when you're talking on the phone and you're interviewing Jared and Jake, would you rather have a person who thinks they can do it? If you can do it, kind of almost like they're cockier than you. They feel like they know more than you. Or do you want to feel like a person that's dumber than you? So when you're interviewing and when you're talking to people, what are you looking for? Arrogance, humility, confidence? Are you looking for a puppy dog that needs to be rescued? Are you looking for somebody that has no job? Are we looking for homeless people? Are we looking for people that are unemployable? How would you respond to that, Jared? What are you looking for? Give me some grip.
Yeah, looking for people who are confident but teachable. I'd rather take somebody on the side of confident and arrogant as opposed to the other end of the spectrum where they're like, no confidence, and I don't know. They don't strike you as someone who's going to get up and do it no matter what. I'd rather have somebody who's going to be confident and they're going to do it no matter what, and who's teachable and can take direction, as opposed to somebody on the other end of the spectrum.
How about you, Jake?
Yeah, I'm listening and looking for confidence and then something to back it up with. People can blow a lot of smoke up your ass. I had a state client in here and her son was saying he had all kinds of these businesses but didn't have two nickels to rub together. So it's like, there's a lot of hearsay, but asking questions to figure out the proof of what they've actually done. So.
Okay. So for you two, and for a couple other people that hopefully are listening to me like I'm talking to them, I need for you to know what you're looking for when you're interviewing. So if you're talking to an Uber driver, or if you're talking to an interview who came in to interview with you for a position, or if you're on the phone, or if you're doing a Zoom, know what you're looking for, and don't forget that when you're tailoring your talk, or when you're asking them questions, keep in mind your sorting is probably more than you're selling. So you think if you're a football coach at NC State and you're interviewing and you've got your first string quarterback, you've given him a scholarship, second guy's got a scholarship, and the third string guy is the son of one of the rich boosters, right? So you're pretty much locked into the quarterback. You interview a kid and he's like, I'm going to play quarterback, I'm not going to pay nothing. In other words, this is a position he wants, so he's not going to play anything. Why do you keep talking to him? He wants this. In other words, if you don't sort through what you're looking for, you're going to keep talking to a person who's not looking for what you're looking for. And so, I agree with you, Jared, when you said I want extreme confidence, but teachable. I think teachable is yet to be proven, but the confidence, I think I can decide right then how arrogant they are. But whether they're teachable or not, I don't know how we're going to be able to tell in the first 15 minutes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, if they've been able to, like with you were able to become a professional welder traveling with your own machine, you clearly are teachable. So you don't have to prove it to me based on your history. So Jake was making $85,000 a year without any kind of a college degree, without any kind of daddy to get him a job. He was making, and you were what, 21? How old were you, Jake, when you described that job?
Started at 18.
At 18 years old, and he's doing that. I'm like, clearly the guy's teachable, moldable, because people won't keep paying you. I mean, he wasn't like making it for 30 minutes. I mean, he had a solid job. So I'm going like, this guy's, in my mind, if he's telling me he's done that, then he's teachable. If a person's had a job for 5 years, they're moldable. Unless, now there are exceptions to every rule, right? Like in a government employee or whatever, you don't think of, they just show up. They don't really, that's what we think of them around here. Y'all across the country, y'all might feel differently. By the way, I found out who's in charge of the DMV. It's our buddy Wayne Goodwin. He's in charge of the DMV now. Y'all, you ever jokes about the DMV? No? Y'all don't? Have you ever went in there to get your license yet? Have you noticed the enthusiasm that's in there? None. The bureaucracy involved. They don't look like they're in much demand, do they? So that's what I mean by if you've had that job for 5 years, I'm not blown away. Okay, so their history has to do with what you think they're going to do going forward. So now we're interviewing, so we're kind of looking for the best history. Now, if you interview them at 18, you can't look for too much history. At 25, you got a limited window, you got a 7-year window. They got 50. They're 50 years old, and they ain't got some really good history in that amount of time. Whoa, you're in big trouble. Make sense, Jake and Jared? Don't mean you can't hire them. Don't mean they won't sell. It don't mean they're the biggest crook that ever walked into your office and they're going to try to scam you and take your money. But I'm just saying if they don't have a history. So you interviewing people has a lot to do with it. And then, so what happens is, let's say you line 100 interviews up, and a person that least fits what you're looking for on the football team and the person that most fits on the football team. Which one do you put more energy into? Which one do you spend more money on? Oh, by the way, let's say there are 100 people, because this is I'm feeling some of my people talking. But what if all 100 of them are not good? Welcome to my world. I talk to 100, and they're not really that good. Take the best of all these bad people and put the most energy in on them until you can go through another 100 and maybe find one better. Okay? All right. There's two acronyms we use that say what we're looking for. One is FAT, F-A-T. What's the other one? RWA. So FAT means faithful, available, and teachable. RWA means ready, willing, and able. So if you got a person who's ready to go, ready to take a full-time job, and they want to go to work when they graduate, and you're interviewing them with a freshman. They're a freshman, they're not ready to go full-time, they want to graduate. Conflict. Just graduated, ready to go to work, you got a job available, they're hired. Does that make sense? Ready, willing, it's just, call it lucky. Like you're interviewing, looking for a person they're capable, ready to go, and they're willing to accept advice. That's it. Let's go. So it does seem like it applies to everybody, and it seems like it's non-discriminatory. But if you do everything in your life equally, you're just going to waste your life, because you're not discriminating against the sweetest. You're not discriminating against the best. You're not discriminating against the most productive thing that you can do. So if you put half your time in something that's stupid and half the time in something great, it's terrible. So if nobody's ever told you to change where you put your time and where you put your money or where you put your investments, if this is the first time you're hearing it, like, eat this up and try to make all your life into shifting things, all the money, effort into where it's working. And so that would tell you, like with Jake and Jared, the reason I'm talking to you is because I believe what's being told to you is working. You're taking it and turning it into other people. We say you're making it into a river, not a dam. You're not damming up the information, you're pouring it out into other people. But you want to do it faster, right, Jared? You like, how do I duplicate myself quickly?
Yeah.
Right, Jared, my question for you would be how come you don't have a Jake and Varay? And if I were you, I would be asking my mind, how come I don't have a Jake and Varay? Like, I don't understand why one of them is not in my company. And so your head is start thinking, here's a reason. And then the same thing for Jake and Varay. How come y'all ain't got Jared and Rachel? Like, why don't you have somebody out there, I won't say Orlando, but Rockledge, Florida? How come you don't have somebody there? Because there's somebody there looking for something like we got. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So high level, Jared, getting stuck, growing faster, business blowing up. Tell me ask your question to me, like if you could ask anything on that subject line.
Of how to get going faster and how to.
Yeah.
So as far as to get going faster, I know we've talked prior to this about like traveling and working more in depth. I think that's a big spot where our problem comes from. And luckily we were with Jake picked enough to work with Mark Acetta on some recruiting and stuff like that. And if I was to guess and pinpoint it on, that's where our problem is right now, is working in depth and finding the Jake and Varays and the Jared and Rachels, because you're very rarely going to find them in your first line, and you're usually going to find them in depth. Our sharpest people that we have now are down in depth. Found them in depth through warm market. And that's been a problem we've had since the beginning. So we're starting to work with Mark on having those conversations with our people and starting to do that. So I guess my question to you is, how do we get deeper faster?
All right. So what he's saying is he hired this person and this person and this person and this person. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to get this person to hire another person. And then he's trying to get that person to hire another person. And that person to hire another person. That's what he's calling depth. Makes sense? So as you hire a person, you start building their agency. You hire number seven, and you help him hire two people. That's two in depth. You hire three, that's three people in depth. They're only one in depth. And then if one of those people hire another person, that's deep. So how to get deeper faster? Is that what you're asking, Jared?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. All right. Jake, how would you paraphrase, or how would you form a question along these lines? How to build your business faster, bigger?
Yeah, I think it's just a main question of, looking at whether it's helping yourself or helping someone on your team. How do you determine whether it's changing something they're actually doing or getting them to do more of what they're already doing?
All All right. Say it again. Repeat that last 30 seconds or 10 seconds.
Is it, how do you tell whether it's someone needs to change something they're doing or simply just doing more of it?
Oh, okay. So does Patrick Waddell, does he need to work more to recruit for me? Like he's my recruiter, or does he need to change the way he's recruiting? Is that the question, Jay? Like for Jared, is it for Jared to grow more? Does Jared need to change, or does Jared need to do more? Is that what you're asking me? How do you tell whether he needs to change or do more?
Right.
You know, it'd be funny if I said, "What do you think about Jared? You think he needs to change or do more?" Don't say nothing. And then I go to Jared and I said, "Jared, you think Jake needs to change or do more?" Right? Jared, you think Jake needs to change or you think he needs to do more? Which one you think it is? Here's my prediction. Both of y'all are looking at each other like, you need to do both, boy. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Facts. Jake, I'm going to play with you a little bit, Jake, work with me a little more on that because I kind of messed around with that question. But you know what I mean? Like, keep playing with that because you see I'm answering the question like he needs to do more. Yeah. Now, and I can keep talking about it, but come back.
Sure. No, I mean, seeing like people they'll set a goal, they'll set a target, and you'll fall short. If you haven't, then I mean, we probably start setting goals. But what do you think? Even if that person you're working with seems like I'm doing everything, like the whole I'm doing everything that you told me,
everything just like you said, but it ain't working.
We're doing everything the way you told, but how do we get through that to help them understand in a way that they're not just gonna go to someone else and be like, hey, what do I do here? What do I do here?
All right. The first thing for both of these questions, how to get deeper faster, and does this person need to change or more? For you two, you got to remember, and I'm not sure if this does not look like it's showing up to me, but the circle of you, I can't tell. Is this, y'all can see it, but can you see the circle? You not good? Okay. You are in charge, and that's the biggest problem. So think about this, Jake and Jared. If you could get people to know they're the problem, then they can be the solution. But until they can know they're the problem, they can't know their solution. So Jack Canfield's The Rules of Success, the number one chapter, the first thing you got to do is who's responsible for your position. So if I can't get you to believe that, Jared, I'm doomed. Now, you could go, you're depressing me. You're telling me I'm the entire problem. You should be going like, wait. I'm the problem? Oh, hell yeah. I can change it if I'm the problem. But if I'm not the problem, like Western North Carolina, we can't go away without mentioning Western North Carolina, going through an unbelievable fight. A bunch of our buddies, compadres, Davies, a lot of them struggling. He can't do anything about this, but he can do this. Like his option, like he has the option of going 2 hours away from his house, and he has the option of working from there. If he stayed here, the internet, he can't fix the internet here. It's a disaster there. So there's things going on in Western North Carolina, the road system, the power system. We can't do anything about it. But what we can do, you can do money. You can, Patrick's up there in his four-wheel drive, trying to help people right now. So you can do that, but we can't speed up the government fixing the roads. So when you are trying to go deeper, Jared, just remember, don't get frustrated at them, whether this person, don't be frustrated if this person's not hiring, this one's not hiring, this one's not hiring, this one's not hiring. The question is, what am I doing that's keeping it from going backwards? All right, so I got a couple of laws for you that if you hadn't heard of these. The first one is Newton's law, first law of motion, states that an object in motion tends to stay in motion and unless an external force acts upon it. Similarly, an object at rest will remain unless an unbalanced force attacks it. So this 1/3 cup of coffee has a value, a strength value to hold it down. It also has a strength value to keep it from sliding, okay? And it's a force. It's called gravity. Has to do with the centrifugal force of the earth going around the sun and the way it's spinning. It's a combination of factors that keeps the cup here as opposed to floating up here. Now, my strength external is pushing it up. Gravity's pushing it down. And when the equal to the push is less than the pull, it's going to stay here as long as this is stronger than the pull of gravity. So if you put, like, for example, water, gravity is stronger than the pull of water. So if you put it in water, this would go right down in water because water doesn't have the strength to hold it up like the table has the strength. So there's always a balance of forces going at it. So if your organization is 20,000, Jared, it's staying there unless you put a bigger force on it. There is a thing called a leverage. That Newton said, give me a lever big enough and I'll change the world's rotation. There's another word, a rod, a stick, where you can lever something up. So there is leverage, but leverage takes the power and multiplies it. So like this is no multiplication, but if I ask Spencer to come over here and me and him, it's double the power. But there's also scientific explanations. Like, for example, if you take one horse and pull a buggy and two horses and pull a buggy, it's not double the power. It's something like 2.3% of 223% of energy because you've added a second battery or you've added a second force. And these are all things that are very, very, very calculatable. Okay? So if you hadn't heard, like I studied 4 years of engineering and spent 10 years in an engineering company, and we talked about it, we studied it, and then we did it in manufacturing. But what you do is you take that information over here and you go, Jared, your group is the size of the group it is because of the force that's been put on that group. Less force put on it, it'll go away, it'll dissipate, or if a force hits it, it can skew the group. You could change, like for example, if you got 10 people recruiting and somebody came in and did a hell of a talk and they became salespeople. Now you quit recruiting, and so the force of somebody talking, the emotional force. Or if somebody threatened, come in and beat them with sticks and said start selling and quit recruiting. It's a force that changes it. Whether it's emotional, whether it's electric, whether it's physical, but it's power that comes in and changes something. So, Jake, is this your track? So you're at 120,000. The reason you're not $250,000 a month, the reason you're not $1 million a month is the power, the leverage, or the positioning. Here's another thing. Like if I try to pick up that cup and I'm standing over here, it's harder to pick it up than if I'm over here like this. And then if I do this and I get my elbows, I can do a whole lot more power. So like if a big person's sitting here, I'm trying to pick them up, I can't do it at get an angle. So everything matters on that group of 20,000 or that group of 120,000. What's the most important thing you can do to it? Okay, so Entropy says if you hire a person who don't have a job, ain't doing dookie, ain't reading books, ain't going to meetings, ain't, it's going to take more power to move this person than if a person gets up every day and goes to work. Michelle Jones, used to be Michelle Colon. Michelle Jones, she used to get up in the morning at 4 a.m., go to work at FedEx and work. She's working like 6 hours a day, and then she'd build her business. We started making so much money, she said, I don't need my job. And I was like, I like you getting up. I was like, if I were you, I would keep that job, just cut the hours back. She don't like getting up in the morning. I said, no, but it gets you in motion. So she'd get up, and then at the end, she was just working like an hour. She'd get up like 4 a.m., get there at like 4:30, work 5:30, the job was done. And eventually, she got in such a motion that she just quit her job, and she didn't need the money. Now, other thing happens after that when you make a decision to quit your job, and then all of a sudden you don't have to get up. Next thing you know, you might be sleeping in. Next thing you know, we might have to start all over on the force, right? You try. So in other words, when you're interviewing Jake and you found the person in motion, they're already doing a lot of the things that we want them to do. It won't take as much force to get them there. Make sense?
Yeah.
Now, you say, well, if they already got their insurance license, that's great. How can I do this? Because I don't like to talk about people that are doing good that ain't us. But I got a good friend, and he's got an organization that he likes to copy us, and he's doing really good. But in his organization, he's looking here, here, and here. The people that are doing the best are the ones that are recruiting people that are not licensed. I hear that a lot. And when I go around the country and I say, raise your hand, if you joined us before you got your insurance license, it's more people. Like, for example, and I don't know, Jared, you might have already, did you already have your license when you met us, Jared?
Yeah, only for like a week, though. I had just gotten it.
But you did a company.
I hadn't worked with anybody now.
You hadn't worked with anybody. You just got your license out of the blue.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird, but it happens. So, and then Jared, I know you got your license after we talked to you, and I know your wife got her license after we talked to her. Right, Jake?
Oh, yeah, me. Yeah, we did not have our license. We didn't get our license.
We find those people, don't get me wrong, we got people doing good in every category that were licensed before, but we know that that's one, like, they're already licensed. What if they're already getting their license? I would call Jared, he was already getting his license. What if they're already getting up every day going to work? What if they're already reading books? What if they're already building a network? So, like, I've got a couple of guys right now, they're not in insurance, they're not in our business, but they're playing football. But they're networkers and they workers. So I want those guys to come on board at the right time because they're building their network. I see them meeting donors. They meet other players from other football teams. They're just naturally recruiters. So you're recruiting somebody that's naturally a recruiter. Now, Jared, here's the only thing I want to really come back to this, because when you say teachable, or when I say ready, willing, when I say faithful, available, and teachable. Well, what if they're not available right now? What if they meet 2 out of 3, but not 1? Then I either have to write them off or put them over here on hold. And on hold might mean I'm not pushing so hard, but I'm continually touching base, Jared. I'm not disgusted with them, but I call it 3 different categories. You got they're doing it, there's not going to do it, and they ain't got a chance. And then there's people over here with potential that can doing it, they're just not doing it yet. Okay? Now, I don't even know if I'm on. Well, I want to read this because this is this is like typical engineering craziness. Entropy, I talk about entropy a lot. Entropy to me says that anything is going to stay, nothing is going to stay that's going to stay the same unless something does something to it. So nothing changes unless something affects it. And it sounds like a crazy rule, but it's an engineering rule, and it goes like this. Entropy is a concept from thermodynamics that measures the disorder or randomness of a system. That's crazy. It also refers to the amount of energy in a system that's no longer available to do work. Over time, systems naturally progress from order to disorder. So this is a system of molecules, clay that was cooked to ceramic and painted, and it's a system that will gradually decrease over time. That's what that says. Over time, systems naturally progress from order to disorder, which is why entropy tends to increase according to the second law of thermodynamics. For example, in a closed system like a universe, the total entropy is always increasing, which can be observed in everyday situations like a messy room needing an effort to be cleaned. The progression is irreversible, meaning the system cannot return to its previous ordered state without external energy being applied. So your company, Jared, number of sales, number of recruits, how many people attend convention is naturally dissipating, going to disorder, unless something greater gets in charge of it and organizes it and getting it going in a direction and then encourages it to move in that direction. Then the only thing that can stop it is disorder or something unnatural. I'm saying that going like, I wonder if anybody's following this. Like if your business is going like this and then it does this, something affected it. You don't look around and go like, I'm doing everything right and the bread's not baking. I'm doing everything right and the safe's not opening. If you do everything right, you get results. If you're not getting results, it's either you or an outside force. Either you are the outside force that's not doing a good job, or it's another outside force that's causing a problem. Okay? Right? So let's do an example. Playing golf and it's torrential rains. Okay, so normally everybody's scoring around 75. But the average during the rainstorm is 78 because it's an outside force keeping us from playing golf. But if I am in a match and I've got Jasmine, right? So I've got Jasmine. And you beat me by 4, and somebody says, why did she beat you? And I go, the rain. Do you see the problem? I'm going to go through it slowly. Take this mic. It's the first test. Can you take the mic? So me and you're playing in the rain. And I say the reason you won is because of the rain. Is there an error in my engineering philosophy?
Yeah, but I think that's an excuse.
Why is that an excuse? It's raining. Don't you think it's a fact?
But if I could do it in the rain.
Oh, wait, you are playing in the rain also. So the outside force on you is the same as the outside force on me. So by deductive reason, why did I lose? If it's not the rain, it must be... You're just not better than me. So you see what I'm saying, Jared? So if you started the same day as Jake, and Jake said, this is my business, this is my profitability, this is yours, or Jake says, this is mine, and Jared says, well, the reason is because you've been in longer. And Jake's like, nope, started the same day you do. And he's got to go like, well, the reason is Andy Albright's helping you more. Or the reason is good people attracted to you. Well, they don't want to say that. But if you, Jared, you're tracking with me. If you don't come back and say it's me, If it is in fact, like you could say, the reason he's doing good is he's in New Mexico and I am in Florida. Well, that's the fact. The problem is, Jasmine, is if we start somebody else going in Florida that's going good, he's going to have to pick a different excuse. Jake has somebody else growing better than him in New Mexico, he's going to have to come up with an excuse. So, and that's what some people, most that are like, so like when you're interviewing Jake, if that person is trying to find excuses now, they're going to be trying to find excuses later.
Mm-hmm.
If you find a person that's flighty, they won't answer your questions. I'm not referring to any particular politicians and specifically, but when you ask a person a question and they talk for 5 minutes and it has nothing to do with the question you ask because they're just hoping you're so stupid you'll get diverted into some other thinking, right? And you're sitting there interviewing them and you're going like, so why didn't you like the other company? And they go, well, my philosophy as a young kid, I grew up in the country, as a farmer. And you're like, yeah, what's up with that last company? Just, what I mean? Like, if they're not going to cut through it with you now, they're not going to cut through it with you later. Does that make sense? So thinking about how you interview and knowing these laws of people, it's going to affect them. There are exceptions. Now, the number one vision that you can have in this business, the number one vision, it's not 20/20 vision, it's hindsight. You hire 10 people, whichever one sells the most, you tell everybody that's your best agent. Hindsight is your best vision. So the problem is, if you got 100 people, and these are the 5 people you think is going to do it good, and then these are the people that do it, your forevision, your foresight, your discriminatory powers suck. Right? Here's the crazy thing. If these are the fast, if you've given this person an extra $500, paid for a ticket, spent some time with them, and they're doing nothing, and then these people are writing 10 grand, and what if you'd have helped this person? What if you'd have put juice there? What if you'd have put fertilizer here? What if you'd have encouraged these people as opposed to these people? Okay, so how to get deep. First of all, Jared, if it's you, then you start thinking, what could be wrong with me? What could I be doing wrong? So one thing, Jared, is the higher the quality people you get, typically they're going to hire better quality. So if you're flipping over, if you're going like, if this is a person you hired a 6, we know that's not a greatest card in the world. Or if a person's a 6 as opposed to a 2 or a 3, 6 is better than 2 or 3, but it's not a jack or a queen or a 10, right? So this person, a 3, don't hire anybody. You really shouldn't get all that mad. Queen. So now a queen can hire people, but people are going to hire people if they like you, if they trust you, if they want their friends to come around, if they see they've got a benefit for it. So like Jared or Jake, 6 and a 3, you've got $100 to spend. You do 33, 33, 33, or you could do $99 here or $100 here. And people say, well, that's not right. I want to join a company that's completely fair. You want to play on a baseball team that's fair? Does everybody get an at-bat? Does everybody get to pitch one pitch? What do you mean by fair? So Jared, these need to change and do more. She needs to change and do more. But this one needs to change the way their sanitary habits, their breath freshener, and they need to change their clothing and who they hang around with, and You with me? Like we're dealing with a heavy weight here that's got to be moved.
Yeah.
Another way to look at it is we're walking through the forest and we're picking up little bitty trees, 2-foot trees or 10-foot trees. A lot of times these 10-foot trees are hard to pick up because they got roots. A lot of times the 3 has got roots because they're 3 and they're 45. Like combination of 3 and 45, you with me? Combination of queen and 19, they got a lot to learn. They need to change, they need to grow up, maturity. Have they ever traveled? Have they been in a jet before? Would you hand that mic to my son back there? He tends to have good questions. Tends to have good questions. Jake and Jared, I'm looking for clarifying questions from you also. Jared and Jake on this. If I inspire you today, then what you should do, if I could get you to do it, is go to your calendar and book a party. Book 3 meetings, San Antonio, Dallas, Denver, a round trip. Book a party at your house. Book a contest. I would say if you're inspired and a good, book some activity and then follow through with it. So the travel thing, Jared, is like just look at your calendar and book it. And here's another thing, book it and then make it work. Have you heard it? How about this? When something happens to you, it's not what happened, it's how you handle it. How about this? When you book a meeting, it's not how the city responds. It's not was it the right decision. It's how you handle it after you booked it. So when something comes at you, it's how you handle it. But when you book something, it's still how you handle it. Just because you did an interview, just because you booked a meeting to Boston, just because you booked it, how did you handle it afterwards? Did you make it bigger than it would have been? Did you call everybody you know? Did you post it? Be like, I posted on Facebook. I go, did you post it on Instagram? Did you post it here? Did you text it to people? Did you tell your upline? Did you call anybody? Did you make it bigger? Spencer, do you have a good question to clarify all my laws? And
I'm thinking.
Come up here while you think. I was supposed to have you on the screen, but I didn't. I invited Spencer, but I didn't have him on screen because he was sitting in the audience. Jared, Jake, while he's thinking.
Yeah,
Comments or clarifying questions, either one. I'll take either one from you guys.
When you've got someone who comes to you and says, "Hey, Andy, I'm stuck. Where do you start with them?"
Great question.
What strategies are you going to give them? What are you going to talk to them about?
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you this. It's first a series of questions, rapid fire questions, and you need to know what those questions are. Typically, they're going to tie in with 8 steps, but I'm not going to pull out the book and say, you with me? I'm not going to hit them. I'm not going to hit them with, let me ask you this. But I can tell you, I'm going to be flirting all around these. Number 1 is, what are you reading right now? As in every 15 minutes, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get clarification. That'd be like somebody coming up to you and say, how do I get to your house? And you go, easy. Take a left where you are. And they go, really? First question is, where are you? But yeah, I'm stuck. All right, Jared.
How do we know if it's the talent of the person we're dealing with or if it's my own leadership ability that's the cap on my team's production? Like, how do I know if it's me or if it's the people? I know we going through like some of the Alliance, Aiden, and Alice stuff. So even when some people are checking, like I have somebody who will check those boxes, but then they're still not doing too much. Is that just going through people, or is that, or is it something I'm doing wrong?
Yeah. Those are good points and good questions. What say ye, Mr. Spencer Albright?
For a question?
Yeah. or comment?
I think your scientific analogies were really impressive. They made sense to me.
All right. Tell them a little bit who you are. Got a kid. You only got one. They got two.
Yeah, I'm Spencer Albright. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, about an hour from headquarters here. Andy's son, and I'm married, Meredith, and we have a 11-month-old. Yeah, she'll be a year old in November. Been in the business of insurance for 8 years. So I got licensed when I was 18. Kind of did different things in college, still kind of in the same circle, insurance, Medicare, and then officially with the Alliance for about 3 years. And that is a very short synopsis. I'm really into working out.
Yeah. Okay. So this I'm going to go, I'm stuck is a great question, Jake. The first thing I want to know is, what are they reading and what are they doing? And by doing, I mean like Entropy and the first law of dynamics and motion is I want to know facts and figures. Emotions are very critical, but there's a guy named Jim Rohn. He said, what I need a box of information. I don't need all the stories. I need the numbers. What book are you reading? How clear is that? Think and Grow Rich. Magic of Thinking Big. The Bible. That's not a good answer for me. What book are you reading? I'm reading Proverbs. I'm reading John. I'm reading James. Okay, got it. What book are you reading? I don't need, well, let me tell you, I've been on a diet. My mother, bro. Okay, so you with me, Jake? And I'm telling you, the things they're not doing that I'm asking them, if they don't go, don't get me wrong, there are people with more complicated structures, but the biggest thing is the review of their statistics, their mathematical equations. Where are they? And then and don't get me wrong, how's your health? How's your parents' health? How's your kids' health? What's your financial situation? Do you have money in the bank? All that matters. All that matters. But I am asking a lot of questions. Me versus the people. Jared, I just know it's me. You can keep trying to decide if you want to. I already know I'm the problem. Okay? So what I'm telling you is that's your best route, is just go with you are the problem. Now, I got a guy. Like, you want to describe this girl or you want to describe this guy, and you're trying to decide because they seem to be perfect and they're not doing it, so you think it's you. Because I just told you it's you, right? But they're perfect, right? So what do you got to change to get them to change? And sometimes, Jared, the answer is there's nothing you can do to change this perfect person. Like, we got a guy, he's in Spencer's hierarchy, and he is like 5 down, and he's just been getting better and better and better. What he won't do is come down and sit down. If he comes to a convention, he'll be the one that's, you'd think he built the building and was the fire inspector. You'd think he was me, started the company. You know what I mean? You'd think the event planner worked for him the way he's walking around. He's not disruptive. He just ain't paying attention. And he don't come to most everything. But his business has been getting better and better and better. We've getting him contracted with more carrier. Listen to this. I don't even want to tell you too much, but because to tell you, he's getting better. He ain't coming to Orlando, but he's going to be there in January. And I think we're going to get him 100,000 by January. It almost sounds like the optimism of me is contrary to the 8 Steps book, don't it?
Yes.
It's in his team. He's frustrated with it, and I've been excited the whole time. That's the weirdest thing, is how he's excited about it. I mean, frustrated about it, and I'm excited about it. Would you agree? That's a weird predicament.
Yes.
On the other hand, have you seen people in your company, and they're so excited about this person, and you're looking at them going, Mo, run. Like as in, why are you excited about Ding Dong Head?
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
So this person that you hired, call him Jake.
Yeah.
Jake's not going to be like this, but Jake would look at one of his agents and go like, I just think this person's going to be the greatest thing on earth. And you're looking at them going like, no way that person's going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, not with Jake. I don't think he does that. I think he's better at discernment. Mm-hmm. And I think Jared's better at discernment. On the other hand, if they lined up their 100 people, Spencer, and they listed their top 20, and then you got the same 100, a blind test, and you pick 20, would it be the same that I pick and Jared picks and Jake picks, or would everybody probably have a few different ones?
I mean, based on these couple guys, I think we'd have a lot of the same, but there would definitely be some variation.
Would that be crazy, Jared, if we took 100 people at the convention out of 1,000? Let me write this down. Get 100 people, and you interview, do a, what do you call, like a rapid recruiting?
Speed dating.
Rapid dating, speed dating. So you got like 2 minutes, and then you pick 20, Jake picks 20, I pick 20, and Spencer picks 20. Now, 5 years from now, you're going to say, like, people go like, where we're similar, that's important. We need to find our similarities, because that's where our strength lies, in our similarities. Will our similarities determine who wins 5 years from now, or who picked the right people? Which one is going to matter 5 years from now?
I mean, I want to pick the right people.
Okay, you pick 15. If 15 of yours is the same as 15 of mine, but I've got 5 people that you didn't pick. You've got 5 that I didn't pick. So we throw out the 15. It's the different people.
Gotcha.
So it's not what's the same, it's what's different. What's different about that guy? The one that I like and I've been excited about, right? And then there's other ones I'm excited about, have never done anything. And I'm going like, just wait. I'm just touching base. I start naming names. Is this helping at all, Jared?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Just to know that I'm so excited about it. And now, let me ask you this. Have your excitement about this guy increased dramatically in the last 30 days?
It increases every time you mention him, because I'm waiting, to see you be right, pretty much. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, because he's on your team. But I mean, how much did you write last month?
I would guess 30,000, but probably 10, maybe 10 apps.
10 apps, $30,000 production.
Yeah, it's last I saw.
Top producer in the country.
70,000 submitted last month.
70,000 submitted last month, 30,000 issued. So that means he's probably going to have 30,000 issued this month. How'd you like to have that? But he did nothing. But he matched so much criteria, Jared. He just didn't hit one. It'd be kind of like if you have a card, you draw hands and you only need one card. But if you need 3, like I've got 2 hearts. I just need 3 more hearts. But if you've got 4 hearts, you've got a lot of better chance of drawing another heart. So if you've got a person that's 10 out of 10, 10 out of 12, 11 out of 12, 9 out of 12, but he's the 12th one, he's not this, and he's not that, and he's in a different country, he's with a company, he can't come over, he can't leave. It's only 1 or 2 problems versus looking through rose-colored glasses to a not potential person because they love you. And they come to everything, and they want it so bad. And I brought that is not part of the criteria.
What do you like about him?
Say again?
What do you like? The 9 out of 12. Like, what do you like about him? It's so easy to focus on the things you don't like when you look at the other 9 that you do like.
It would be like a big, beautiful bowl of punch, and you see one turd floating around and lose your mind. Like one little turd. And you're like, look at the turd. I go, you see the punch? Now, on the other hand, puppy dog comes in here, maggots, bundled up hair, slobbering, and little girls are going, oh, look at this puppy dog. They're got maggots and stuff. It's nasty. Somebody got to feed him tomorrow. Somebody give him a bath. Probably needs tetanus. Needs to be fixed, spayed, neutered, and tapped. You see what I'm saying? Big punchy ball, they see the turd. Puppy dog comes in. Oh, look at him wagging his tail. Like, bro, some punch over here. That's, to me, that's a good one.
This is an interesting one. So with this punch bowl
effect.
How should I'm thinking of this specific person.
Would you like this right here? All right, go ahead.
What do I do? I mean, to grow, to get him to really blossom, I guess.
Okay, so that's a great question. I never, ever, ever expect a person to build a massive business, but I expect somebody they know to build a massive business. So, like, I don't expect, it's not slapping the face, Jake. I don't expect you to build a massive business, but I sure expect somebody you hire. Like, you've been around, let's call it 3 years, Jake, and you're only at $140,000 after 3 years. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to hire somebody 3 years from now, they're doing $250,000. So in your 3 years, you got to 150. In their 3 years, I want them to get to 250, and they'll be under you. So I'm not looking for him to build it. I'm looking for somebody he knows to build it. His girlfriend. Robbie he met their girlfriend. He's like, she's sharp, man. She's a worker. Huh. Well, then they're going to know people, but we got to get them. But we got to give them.
They actually cultivate the relationship to get to who's going to build the big business.
Right, because people are going to hire people if they like you, trust you, believe in you. Like when a kitty cat brings a mouse to the door, what does that tell you? They're showing you, like, look at this. Keep feeding me because I brought the cat rats and stuff. Doggy goes and gets a stick, brings it back. I'll get a stick for you. They're just trying to please you. You with me? So when a person is selling insurance, going, look at me, look at all this insurance I'm selling. Are you proud of me? Yeah. But if they're not saying, are you proud of me? You still should reach out to them and say, I'm proud of you. And then I'm proud of you. Like, dude, you know this. I love it when a baseball coach or when a football coach loses at NC State. I'm the first one to text him and say, hey, bro, proud of you. I saw this good, this good, this good. When it's a victory, I wait 2 or 3 days because everybody's on them during a victory. But I want to be 4 or 5 days later so they remember me. If it's a bad times, I want to be the first one there. See what I'm saying? Why? Because when something happens, I want him to think about me. Hey, I should invite Albright to this. Or, hey, Andy likes it when I sold $30,000. I bet Andy would like it if I found a good person to recruit. So the kitty cat would bring something, right? So, like, now watch this. I'm like that with my boss. When I find out what he's wanting, I'm trying to deliver. You know why? Because he hits me with, I love you, and you mean more to me than you know. And I'm always like, oh, I got to get more of what he wants. Does that make sense?
Got it.
But if you're like that with a puppy dog, thinking that dog is one day going to be a breeder, and we're going, no. You with me? Now, he might be the best dog you ever had in your life, most loyal. Might save your life one day. Like they say, that house is burning down. He nicks you with his nose and wakes you up. You better watch another Disney movie. That dog gonna eat until he starts laying down, slobbering, using the bathroom. Put a daggum diapers on that dog. No, you done messed up. You see, Jared, Jake, does this help, you think?
Yes, sir.
Helping.
Don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated with kings and queens that are enlisted in the military right now. When Brandon Bulis, when I first met him, bro, he couldn't do, I mean, not involved at all, but I wanted a relationship. And that led to Jake and Bell and Tim Long and Nikki. You would just, like, it's just one at a time finding that person that meets 9 out of 10, 11 out of 12, 8 out of 12. And don't get me wrong. Let's say you got a 3. And in your mind, they're a 3. They're just terrible. But they start writing 10 ground. They start hiring people. Then you reevaluate. Oh, I didn't know that she was a chess queen. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know that she raised boa constrictors and had 12 of them. I didn't know that. Well, if I'd have knew that, I would have saw her as a success. All I saw was dropped out of high school. All I saw was a tattoo all over the side of the face. All I saw was a trailer house that her parents lived in. I didn't see her house that had boa constrictors and there was a construction building. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, I didn't see it. Does that make...
Yeah.
Hindsight is the best sight. So as long as the 3, you didn't spit in her face and slap her, if all you did was hug and nice and smile, and then day 3, day 5, day 12, she starts selling like crazy, you'd be like, I knew I saw it in you the first time I met you. And then she says, how come you didn't give me $1,000 leads like you did that person? I go, oh, they sucker punched me. They tricked me. You didn't. You was a solid person. So I'm going to help you now because I got hindsight kicking in. So anybody that you didn't, but you don't want to quit, but don't want to put no resources there. But if you do, that shouldn't be every case. That's only a few cases. But out of, you pick 50, you pick 20, I pick 20. And then the 3 that I picked and the 3 you didn't pick. Why didn't you pick these? You go, well, I didn't like the way his hair was. I go, what does his hair got to do with it? I didn't like this. I go, well, I like this. I like this. Like, what criteria made me pick the 3 and you pick these 3? But that's the whole thing, Jared. Jake's been picking his, you've been picking yours. And you go, he's just lucky his mother-in-law come along. He's just lucky. Or vice versa. Jake goes, Jared's just lucky because he got Rachel. He's just lucky because everybody blames that. But like, no, you do need to find that superstar. But a lot of it is out of the 100 people, who are you being nice to? Because maybe that same person, you treated them like a jerk, they get recruited next week by Diane Lampy and they blow up. And you go like, why didn't they do it with me? I go, I don't know. What did you say? Did you recognize them? Did you go see them? I don't know. It does have to do with luck, but also has to do with your magnetism or whether you slow down and talk to them out of the 100. Getting stuck, I would double down on the basics, and I would, above all, get with somebody you trust and talk to them about it. Like, talk to me. Like, I hear this all the time with, well, like weight gain. When a person goes like, I have no idea why it's happening. Get with somebody that can tell you. No, I already know. I've studied it all. No. Get with somebody that'll honestly get in your face and tell you how to get unstuck. Orlando, 1 more, 2 more. Love y'all. I'm out. See you.
Thanks, Andy.
Thinking I'm